Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And welcome to today's episode of Once Upon a Time. Hi everybody. Hi Salma.
Hi.
Hi Yusuf. Hi Abdul Rahman.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for joining us today. And our story today is the second part of the last story. What was the last story?
أصحاب
It was the story about the people of the trench. And what surah was that in, Salma?
البروج.
Exactly, very good. So, what was that? Just to give you a quick recap, just to remind you of what that story was, is that there was a boy and he visited. Who did he visit?
He visited the king's magician.
A magician and a monk. Yes, and the monk was telling him all about Allah's creation, and the magician was going to teach him magic, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. So he was going to both of these, and he was learning from them. And then he got into trouble, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he was going to both, so he had to keep a secret, didn't he? He had to keep a secret. Yes, Abdul Rahman.
I have a question. Why did the boy choose to be a magician?
Why did he? Yeah, well, at that time it was very prestigious. People wanted to be a magician because it was a high position. So that's why it attracted him. That's why he was interested to learn about the magic, because people wanted to be magicians. Okay?
I have another question. Like, why? I already forgot it.
You forgot your question. Okay, you can ask me later.
I remember.
You remember?
Yeah. Why didn't the boy go to the magician first?
I don't know why he went to the magician first. He met the monk first. That's what happened. So he met the monk first. That was how it happened.
Because he wanted to learn more about Allah.
But he went to the monk and he was learning about Allah, yes, from the monk, and then he met the magician. Yeah. Okay, so at the end of the story that we did in the last episode, what happened was that the king was saying to the courtier, "I am your lord," and the courtier said no, that he learnt everything from Allah. It all came from Allah. And the king wanted to know, where did this knowledge, where did it all come from? Who cured you? Because he was blind, remember? Yeah. He was blind and he was cured. And the courtier didn't want to tell him that it was the boy, that it all came from the boy. So the king said that I am your lord, and the courtier said, no, you're not. So the king said, tell me the name. Tell me the name, he demanded. And the king tortured the courtier until he gave away the name of the boy. He told him it was the boy. And the young boy was then brought to the king. Come here, boy. I hear you have become an advanced magician, curing the blind, the lepers, and all the sick people. The king said, I do not cure any. So the boy said, I do not cure anybody. It is Allah who cures.
What's cure?
To make better. So if you're sick, to cure is to make better. And the boy replied that it was Allah. And the king could not bear to hear that it was Allah that cured, that it wasn't him, the king. He wanted people to believe that he was God, that the king was God. Who taught you all this? And the boy refused to tell the king about the monk, because the monk said, don't tell anybody.
Why did it? Then he could have just said it was his family, like play trick on the king maybe.
Well, no, because remember the monk had told him, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody it was me, okay? So
but
the king
don't tell anyone
tortured the boy.
It was me. So he didn't say about your family or...
I know, but this is what happened in the story. That's how it happened. So the king tortured the boy because he wouldn't tell him, until eventually he told him. The boy told the king that it was the monk. So the monk was brought and presented before the king. And the king ordered the monk, turn back from this religion of yours. I am your Lord. No, never. Allah is my Lord, the monk replied. He held on to his belief. He did not want to say that Allah wasn't his Lord. Tear him apart, the king ordered his men. And the king's men cut him into two. Cut him into two pieces with a saw. Ouch, that would hurt.
That
Then
would
the
make you
king
cry.
talked to the courtier. Do you want to meet the same end as the monk? He said this to the courtier. Accept me as your God. And he said, only Allah is my Lord. Then the courtier, he chose to die instead of believing in falsehood. The soldiers brought the saw and killed him as well, just like the monk. Then the
They
king...
killed the monk.
So both of them
Both of
got
them are
cut
dead.
in the half.
Yes, both have been sawed in half, the monk and the courtier. And the king then called the young boy. Do you want to meet the same end as your silly friends? I am not afraid of you. I am your lord, said the king. And the boy bravely replied, know that Allah is my Lord. So the king ordered his soldiers, take this boy to a high mountain. If he still refuses to accept me as his God, throw him down from the top. The soldiers did as they were told. They took the boy to the top of the mountain, and the boy asked Allah for help. Oh Allah, save me from them however you like. And while they were on the mountain, suddenly the mountain, it began to shake and rumble. It was an earthquake. All the soldiers fell off the mountain,
How about the boy?
except the boy. He didn't die. Yes, Yusuf.
How did the boy survive
The earthquake.
Because Allah saved him. Allah was protecting him. And Allah wanted all the others to die, but not that boy, because Allah was keeping him safe.
Because he believed in...
So the boy,
but
he
you
walked
said,
back.
You said that the boy was killed.
No, the soldiers were killed. The soldiers were killed. The soldiers were killed, but the boy stayed alive. Okay? And so the boy walked back to the king. How did you get here? The king asked. Where are all my men? He was very shocked. And he said, Allah has saved me from them. The boy said, that's what the boy said. The boy said, Allah saved me. And the king said, soldiers, grab the boy quickly. Take him to the middle of the ocean. If he refuses to accept me as his Lord, throw him in the ocean. And the king ordered his soldiers to do that.
But
The soldiers took the boy to the middle of the dark and deep ocean. These were different
I'd like
soldiers,
to-
not the same soldiers.
I know, 'cause
Some
it's-
soldiers died and these were other soldiers. And the boy prayed to Allah once again. In the
how did
calm,
he pray? Like question like this.
maybe yes, making dua to Allah. And the boy prayed to Allah once again in the calm sea. Giant waves began to rise, and the boat rocked and turned over, and all the soldiers drowned
except the boy?
except the boy. Why?
Because
How
Allah
did he
protected him.
survive?
Because Allah was protecting him. Exactly.
How did
exactly.
Allah
protected him. Allah kept him alive and
Allah
he
can do
didn't drown.
anything.
When the thing came in to drown all of the soldiers,
Hmm.
did the boy swim, like go away for some reason, but he didn't stop?
Or did Allah...
Well, maybe he was hanging on to the boat. Maybe he was just holding on tight and Allah just kept him safe. And maybe he was in the water, but Allah kept him alive in the water. He saved him.
Maybe
Okay?
Allah made
So-
him breathe in the water.
Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Allah can do anything. So he kept him safe. And the boy went back to the king again. Do you think the king was shocked?
Yeah.
Yes,
He
he
was
was.
totally.
Yes, he
Of
was.
course. he is.
Why is he going to the king again and again and again?
Because he's saying to the king, you can't kill me. You asked your soldiers to throw me off the mountain.
So all
You
this-
then put me in the water.
Maybe that's
And
a
I'm
good.
still alive.
Look.
Allah's
That's
kept
a
me.
good thing because all the soldiers to die. So there are no more bad soldiers in
Oh,
the
I
world.
think there's still some soldiers. There was a lot of soldiers.
Yeah, and
let's keep listening.
Maybe the
So,
kings
where are my soldiers? The king said. Allah has saved me from them, said the boy. You cannot kill me. until you do what I ask you to do, the boy said. And what is that? Asked the king. He was wondering, what could the boy possibly ask? And the boy said, tie me to a tree trunk in a plain ground and gather all the people. Then take an arrow from your quiver and shoot me, saying Bismillah, in the name of Allah, the Lord of the young boy. Only then will you be able to kill me. So the king did as the boy said. And that when he shot the arrow, it hit him in the temple, and the boy died.
I wouldn't do
Yes,
that.
Salma.
Why did the boy tell the king how to kill him?
Because he knew that by saying Bismillah, then it would happen, okay? By saying, because before, remember,
Also,
he couldn't kill him,
Yeah,
could he?
because he
He
didn't
couldn't
say
kill him.
Bismillah.
But
Wait,
by
but-
saying Bismillah, it meant that it was by the will of Allah.
So did his son believe in Allah?
Did what, sorry?
Did the king believe in Allah?
Let's find out. So the people knew that the king had only been able to kill the boy because he said Bismillah, okay? And all of them became believers, saying, we believe in the Lord of this boy. We believe in the Lord of this boy. That's what they were saying. Subhanallah. And one of the king's men told him, Your Majesty, you have made a grave mistake, a very bad mistake. This is exactly what you did not want to happen. The people believe in Allah now. Then they'll meet the same end as the boy, said the king. I'll kill them all. The king ordered his men to dig deep ditches and light a fire in them. And he told the people to turn back from the boy's religion. And when they refused, he forced them to jump into these fires. And the king thought that he had won. But Allah tells us that it was the believers who won, because none of the believers left their religion. Even until they died, they were true believers. They knew that their pain would be for a short time. And after that, they would just enjoy Allah's pleasure and paradise. While they were throwing people into the fire, a woman came with her child. And she felt hesitant. She wasn't sure about jumping into the fire with her child. And then a miracle happened. The child said to her, "Oh, mother, endure this ordeal. It is the truth." Yes.
How did the baby talk when he was still a little child and he's still a baby?
Well, that's a very good question. Very good question, because babies can't talk, can they?
No.
But Allah, it was a miracle from Allah. Because Allah had, there was other babies. What about Isa? Allah allowed Isa to speak as a baby. So Allah gave this gift, this miracle, to a few very important and special children. So that's why it was all a miracle from Allah he was able to speak. And it was also a way of him being able to calm his mother, to let his mother that it was okay. So that's why he could speak, all because of the will of Allah. Subhanallah.
So did Allah make him? Did Allah tell him to say that?
He just said it. Of course, everything is by the will of Allah. So Allah would have given him the words. Sure. Just like Allah gives us the words and the ability to speak and
Like
talk and
say-
do everything.
like
So
Adam.
we've come to the end of that story. It's a great story, isn't it?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have to end. So thank you for being with me today. I've enjoyed this story. And we look forward to seeing you in the next story. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.